is Your Health, a podcast of the Integrated Health and Social Services University Network for West-Central Montreal.
Hello and welcome to Your Health. I'm Barry Morgan. When you need health care, you usually deal with doctors, nurses, orderlies, but in a number of facilities within CIUSSS West-Central Montreal, patients and residents can also benefit from music therapy. And to tell us what music therapy is all about, we have Sam Minevich, a music therapist at the Jewish General Hospital, member of CIUSSS West-Central Montreal. Sam, welcome.
I'm really happy to be here.
So tell me, what exactly is music therapy?
Music therapy is exercised by a trained music therapist, and it has the ability to impact emotional, academic, cognitive, motor, and social skills. Primarily at the Jewish, it's mostly a receptive experience, and we find that it really helps people mediate emotions, find a certain sense of catharsis, and really stay in touch with their identity as a patient in the hospital.
How far does this go back, the program?
I'd say that the program at the hospital goes back to the early 80s. Brian Heibloom started it, and he was here for approximately 35 years and really developed and made a place for music therapy within the culture of the CIUSSS West Montreal.
And as a matter of fact, it was Brian who founded the JGH Jazz Festival.
Indeed.
Which this past year celebrated its 20th year.
Yeah, correct.
Really terrific. So it really goes back way back when. So talk a little bit more, Sam, about how music therapy actually helps people.
I find that at the hospital, people tend to lose a sense of identity. Everybody's very busy. Everybody's around. But people don't have that much time to really get into the personal aspects of how people feel about hospitalization. Through music, we can mediate emotions and foster a sense of having their identity before hospitalization impacted life. And it offers the opportunity for an individual connection in a very complicated milieu.
It must be extremely satisfying work in terms of you see the results fairly quickly, I would imagine, in terms of when you walk into a patient's room, announced or otherwise, I suppose, which I'm going to get to in just a second. But it must be so rewarding to get that kind of instant feedback.
Yeah, when we feel that we establish that therapeutic relationship and there's that connection, it can be incredibly rewarding.
So how does it work, Sam? Do you show up just unannounced in somebody's room? Are these appointments, so to speak?
Well, it's a pretty good mix of half and half. So often there'll be a social worker or a nurse will call the office, or a patient knows about the program and will request that, and they'll specifically ask for us to interact with people who are having a more difficult time.
Okay.
And often we'll be on the unit and people say, hey, you were visiting that person, can you come see my family member? Or patients will self-refer. And also we do group sessions in psychiatry and geriatrics.
Okay.
And those have been ongoing for several years.
And what kind of feedback do you get?
It's generally quite positive. People say, well, I was feeling really down, and it stimulates an emotional change or a cognitive change.
It really does.
Yeah, I think that for me, remarkable experiences I have are sometimes working in geriatrics, where you have somebody who's suffering from dementia, and they might not be quite oriented time and space, but the way that memory works is that musical memories are often not impacted by the disease as much as other memories. So you could have somebody who's barely talking, and yet they hear a familiar song and they start singing the words.
Interesting. Real? Is that a fact?
Yeah.
No kidding. So for some reason, somehow, some way, that's just in there somewhere, and somebody, despite certain difficult circumstances, is still able to retain that, and not only retain, but actually use it in such a way that they could benefit from it.
Yeah, and it can have such an impact. Caregivers might be there and see that, and they get to experience what their family member or was a memory of a time before,
right.
Something happier.
Right. You might have just heard Sam's guitar in the background. We're going to get to that in just a second. I guess music really is the universal language. I've met very few people. I can't really think of anybody who doesn't like at least one kind of music. Pretty much everybody loves at least one form or another.
Yeah, it's rare that you find people who totally don't like music.
So do you take requests from the guests? How does it work? Or do you walk in and say, well, here, we're going to play a set or a couple of songs?
It's very directed by the patient. I think the difference between playing music as a performance and being a music therapist is that it's totally client-centered. So one of the skill sets that you need to have is to have a wide-ranging knowledge of different styles of music in many different languages. I know that the CIUSSS West-Montreal is very, Center West, is very, there's many allophones, people who come from different backgrounds, and I find that in my work I could end up singing maybe 6 different languages in one day.
Do you actually speak 6 different languages?
No, no.
But you could sing 6 different
Yes,
languages.
yeah. Some better than others.
So English, French.
French, Yiddish, Hebrew, Italian, Spanish.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a really wide-ranging variety.
What kind of, speaking with music therapist Sam Minevich, what kind of training did you go through for something like this?
I have a master's degree in music therapy, and I'm a music therapist accredited by the Canadian Association of Music Therapists. So I had 1,200 hours of internship, and I had to write a board standardized exam before I got my credential, which is MTA, Music Therapist Accredited.
Well, there you go. There you go. And can you give us an example, Sam, of, say you walk into a patient's room and he or she, for whatever reason, particularly down, and let's face it, most often you're facing people who are in difficult situations, but where you found your presence and your work with your colleague Henri Oppenheim, the other music therapist here at the hospital, really made a difference in somebody's life.
Well, I visit dialysis every week, and I have a client there who often is in a very feeling very sick. Not very motivated to come to the treatment because, the side effects are that you feel not good, And she related to me that one of the reasons that she keeps coming is because of our weekly interactions. And I can physically see her mood, her emotional affect increase, and she becomes more involved. And it's also very helpful to the staff because some patients that I meet might not be having the easiest time, and that's reflected in their interactions with the staff, and they say, wow, nothing else is working here, but when you come, everybody's life becomes easier.
Wow. That's pretty terrific, isn't it?
Yes, it feels great. And we're not here just for the patients. I find that many units can be a little bit heavy emotionally, and we try and take the time to interact with the staff as well. It's sort of a global thing. My predecessor Brian Heiblum said that we kind of curate the sonic space of the hospital as well.
Very nice. And I must admit, the first time I saw you and Sam, you and Henri walking around the hospital, I said, well, why are there a couple of guys here with, guitars strapped to their backs? And then, after finding out the very good reason, I'm sure you have a lot of friends in this network.
Yes, yeah. We take time to cultivate those personal connections, and I feel that it's profitable for everybody.
And how long have you been playing guitar?
How long have I been playing guitar?
Besides the other instruments.
Oh, yeah. I'd say about 20 years.
20 years?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm going to ask. We asked Sam to bring his guitar, as a matter of fact, and it hasn't left his sight since we started speaking.
Oh no, it's my comfort object.
And so, just give us a little sample of what it is you do. Maybe give us a little context.
Yeah. So maybe somebody's coming in and they are feeling stressed, and they want. Sometimes people don't want music with lyrics. They just want something instrumental, just something that elevates them on an aesthetic viewpoint, and maybe they want to relax. So we might practice some breathing exercises with a piece of music that's suitable. So I can play you a little bit of something.
Sure.
That
please. Wow, I'm just blown away by, hearing it is one thing, but watching you and, being so up close, live music, it's just really amazing. you made me feel better for whatever
That's
whatever
good.
that's worth, Sam. So really terrific. Was that just freestyle, or was that an actual?
That was a Russian song. So maybe, let's say I was meeting somebody from a Russian background, that might be something that we would play. The music is so varied, and when we have the opportunity to, like, let's say we're in psychiatry, we have instruments. We can do stuff that's more freeform, more that's about expression. But so it's a very varied,
Repertoire, I guess.
Discipline.
Or discipline, there you
Yeah.
go. Sam, just really terrific stuff. Thank you very much for what you do, and really, really do appreciate your time today as well.
Thank you very much, Barry.
Sam Minevich, one of the music therapists at the Jewish General Hospital, a member of CIUSSS West-Central Montreal, which also offers music therapy at Mount Sinai Hospital, our 6 long-term care sites, and the rehabilitation program in specialized schools of the Lethbridge Leighton Mackay Rehabilitation Center. And that's it for this edition of Your Health. Thank you for your time. To hear our previous programs, you could find them at podcast.ciusswestcentral.ca. That's podcast.ciusswestcentral.ca. And let us know if there's a topic you'd like us to explore in the future. I'm Barry Morgan. Until next time.
You've been listening to Your Health, a podcast of the Integrated Health and Social Services University Network for West Central Montreal.